nutrition bar company. So Foodrake, I think like most entrepreneurs, either it's an idea, you think there's a gap in the market, or there is something which you feel I should solve. So my personal background is that I worked for more than 15 years in the industry. Half of it was outside India, looking after business development for a few large pharmaceutical companies, and my job entailed traveling a lot globally. So I would go to all sorts of places like Spain or Taiwan, and I would realize that a lot of them are using traditional ingredients, packing them in a really smart format and making them into products which people consume. So that's where the whole focus was, that India has got so many great superfoods, traditional food. Is there a way we can do it? And then I decided to head back to India. I was working in Delhi. And I think we all know that Delhi has had this whole case of pollution and people are much more concerned about it. I had my own children. And like any other parent, you become concerned about it, sensitive about it. So that's where the whole, I would say, idea started to germinate, that can we do something about making junk food healthier, because kids eat a lot of junk food. I'm really fond of food and ingredients, and I have my background in pharmaceutical, which is manufacturing, nutraceuticals, so that thing is there. So I think it was all coming into play, and then one fine day got this concept that can we build a company which is focusing on tasty nutrition and picking up Indian superfoods and developing it into smart formats. So yeah, that's where we are. We've launched this first product of ours, which is a Sattu almonds oats product wrapped in tasty chocolate, and we are hoping children like it. We've got very good response. A lot of parents have come back and said, I'm happy you've not made it that sweet, you've put little less chocolate, kids are liking it. So yeah, so the journey has started. I think there are lots of challenges. I would say the first challenge is transitioning from working to entrepreneurship. So if you're not coming from a business family, you obviously might be the CEO of a company, but when you start, you're starting on your own. That is one. Two is that I think COVID has had a major impact on everyone, and any business is part of it. We only hear the positive stories. So I think that has been a challenge. So being very specific, when one started, it takes a long time to learn the whole nuance of business, which is even things like hiring people, financing, funding, GST, building a team, launching a product. You have so many vendors, some may be professional, some may be unprofessional. So in a nutshell, when you're working in a job, you have a team, or you're doing one thing in a large setup. Here you're doing everything. So I think there will be day-to-day challenges. It's about 2.5 years. So interestingly, when I started Foodrake, so a lot of people ask food and drink. So that's it. So we are into food and drink, and it's a mixture of that, Foodrake. So when we started Foodrake, the whole philosophy was that we want to solve a problem, which is kids are eating unhealthy food. People are not aware of a lot of food, the health benefits. So we had a portal which had nutritionists, Ayurvedic doctors, experts from India and abroad. And we had a lot of content. We used to do workshops at schools and preschools. And we were building a community of parents who would then engage with us, understand what is the right way of nutrition, eating, and take some of our services. And eventually we wanted to launch our own brands also. A lot of them came back and said that it's good to give us advice, but I wish you had a product which we could give a kid. And then, as I said, sometimes opportunities happen. COVID happened, like most businesses, you are impacted, schools shut down, and we realized that our original business model is not that relevant. So it actually made us move quickly to the products which we may have not done. And we used the COVID phase to plan, strategize, do everything. And yeah, we just launched this product. So I personally feel, and there's a thing, the 1,000-day rule. I don't believe in rules, but it takes for anything 2 to 3 years to kind of establish yourself into a business, and then the journey starts. I think a business is a very long-term journey. What you hear in terms of media, of unicorns and funding, those are maybe 1% of the space. In general, it's a long, hard drive, but if you're focused and if you know what your steps are and you take risks, but you're not crazy, I think the journey will go. But 2 to 3 years at least to start establishing yourself. So I would say for me it's a mixed bag. So when you're working in a job, you might be doing 9 to 7. You'll be traveling. I used to travel a lot. I had hectic work hours. So obviously, when you become an entrepreneur, you're basically working 24/7, but you're also working without someone telling you need to work. So if tomorrow I don't want to work from 10 to 12, I will not work unless it is required. But then maybe in the night I'll work from 12 to 4. So what has happened is that it has offered an entrepreneur is always on, but you can always turn off when required. So for me, with my young boys, I've got 2 young boys and I like spending time with them. We like doing a lot of outdoor stuff. So it's great for them because now daddy is or papa is in and out all the time. So if tomorrow they say you need to be in play cricket with me, I can play cricket for half an hour. I don't have a boss telling me that don't do it. But they also appreciate now that he is working much harder than he would. I get up at 5 in the morning and I start working, and sometimes I work till 8, 9. Sometimes I don't if I'm tired. So I think it's more personal. So if your family is supportive, only then can you be an entrepreneur, because you'll always have someone saying, why are you taking the risk? I think when you're a little older, let's say like me, having worked for 10, 15 years, there will obviously be a loss of income initially. So if you have a spouse or who is supportive, who's earning, who understands the journey, then I think that is very important. But personally, it's very difficult because you have to self-motivate. You will be days where you'll think, is it all worth it? You'll feel that your colleagues and your peers and your friends who are working are now in much more senior positions, they're doing everything. So I think you have to mentally align yourself. You have to be very strong. Obviously, the world only sees success. So tomorrow, if you're a successful businessman, all your friends will say, I wish I had done it. If you're unsuccessful, they will say, I told you, why did you take a risk and now you ruined your career. So I think you just have to be patient. And I think one thing which I've learned from COVID is that I think we all know that now it's obviously hopefully gone, that you could get it at any point of time. Anyone could get it, and maybe in 2 weeks you are not there anymore. So why bother and plan and get so stressed about things in life? I think enjoy the moment, plan about things, but be patient. So I think I've learned to be patient, and I've realized that if you're patient, if you are surrounded by good people, by good advisors, you build a good team, most likely problems resolve and you move forward. So for me it's very interesting is because my parents were very supportive, because I think they always thought that if you got great ideas, you do it. And as I said, everyone has a journey. So if you start a business, let's say with 5 years working or 3 years working, you obviously have not built up enough corpus to kind of maybe manage for 2 to 3 years. If you are, let's say, in your late 50s, maybe your kids are going to college. So there might be a huge expense. So can you take that risk? So I think it's all about timing. If you time it well, whatever is your personal circumstance, and you know you have a buffer financially, so either you have you have your savings or you have a spouse who is working. And two is if they I think if people believe in your passion and drive, it will happen. And as I said, it's a very tough journey, so your family has to be aligned. So I think it'd be foolish to fight with your family and say, I want to be an entrepreneur just because I want to be. If they believe in it, and I think the good news is that people see a lot of successes also now. So I think they realize that there is a high probability things may also work out. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's not been a struggle. I think it has been a transition. It just felt the right thing to do, and everyone supported me in my ups and downs. When I was at a plant, it's when it was being manufactured, and I remember the plant head telling me, Mayank, this is your product is now manufactured, and it's like a baby is born. but don't get too excited because now you've got to grow up the baby. So I think like any business, there's that idea phase. So one is very, very excited in the idea phase because you're finally doing something what you feel you can. Then there is that pre-launch execution phase where you're trying to translate that idea into something concrete, and that will be very difficult. I mean, if you talk to successful entrepreneurs, many may come back and say we can't do it again because it's a very difficult phase. And then there is that launch phase where again there'll be a lot of excitement, see my ideas come into the market. And then like any business, any career, even life, you then have to nurture that. You've got to grow it and take it forward. So it's just started for us. So we just launched the product. Now we've got to establish it. We've got to grow it. We want to get more products into the market. So yeah, it's a journey. I think entrepreneurship is a journey. If you think it's an exit, that in 2 years I'll exit and get to Y, then most likely you'll fail. But I've seen the more you get into entrepreneurship, the more you're doing your own thing, you start following your intuition. So what is intuition? Intuition is something which is coming from inside. And a lot of times our education and our training makes us not think what we think is right, what is supposed to be done. So I think the direction of a company, the philosophy, the name, sometimes it all comes from the founder or from an intuition. So yeah, as I said, Foodrik is very simple. I was very clear we wanted to be in food and drink. So if you add food and drink and you take out the N, it becomes Foodrik. So if you explain to someone, they get, oh yeah, it's food and drink, but it's not so obvious that they know it's food and drink. So that's the reason. Yeah, so a name is a name. I think what you make of the name is more important. Yeah, so I think everyone seems to have a lot of passions. I don't have that many because I think there's not much time. As I said, for me, my children are, I really enjoy time with them. I like cooking, so and maybe that's why I'm into food, all sorts of different stuff. And I used to like writing. I never even bothered about it, but interestingly, in the COVID phase, I just one day heard my son speaking something, and my mother said, "Why don't you write it? It's such a nice story." And then I started writing. So I've developed something, and I've already written 2 children books. They're on Kindle. So yeah. So I think I'm a creative person. For me, creative doesn't mean that I want to be a great painter, but I always want to try to do something new. Because I think maybe an entrepreneur is also a creative person. They're always thinking of some new idea. So I think it goes with that. I like to do things which involve the hand. So there's this concept of Ikigai, which is a very famous book. I think most people know about it. But it basically says that there are 4-5 things which make you be happy and live longer, and one of them is, apart from eating rainbow of colors in food and having a social life and doing like exercise, but the other thing is using your hand in repetitive tasks every day, which means if you see your grandmother or mother doing knitting, you'll say, why is she knitting all the time? But if you see science, that whole repetitive task is actually creating something in the brain and keeping them active and alive. So I think we only use our brain now. We don't use our hands. So if you have a hobby which might be gardening or cooking or painting or carpentry or pottery or even playing sports, I think that's what keeps you going. And I have realized that if you have 1 or 2 hobbies which you like to develop, which fit in your time frame, it makes you a much more efficient professional person and a more pleasant personal person. So I think it's a mix. You need to have the passion. 2 is that you need to know that if it does not work, you have the right backing to come back up. 3 is be patient. I think 4th is most important, that you may have all of it, but in the end, entrepreneurship is about a successful business. So you should always remember that the right metrics need to be in place so that you run a successful business. I'm a big follower of being honest and ethical. I think you start with that, you'll build the right team, and long term you will succeed. So yeah, there's no shortcut to anything in life. From personal, A lot of people may say, I mean, you can see everywhere a relationship with your parents, relationship with your friends. You have to invest in it. It doesn't happen in 6 months. So an entrepreneurship is a long-term journey. So only when you're aligned and you are ready to take the risk and you're ready to accept the failure, only then you should do it. Don't do it only thinking of the successes.